Are you ready for the panel now, Jody?
Are they ready?
Are they ready? That's the real question. Okay, I'll let you introduce the panel here.
Thank you. Okay, so for our panel here this afternoon, and we're going to try and not take up a lot of your time, but I would like to invite Kevin Atworth, manager of Redcoat Feeders. Come on down. Murray Linthicum, don't need to say much more than that. Jamie King from Creekside Ranch, Central Butte. And Bevan Hudson from JGL Livestock. Do I or do you? No. I just got asked if he has to be politically correct. I don't know, Jeff, does he have to be politically correct in his answers? I do actually, please, and a chair, please. So they asked for a bottle of whiskey before this. Okay, good. Is that on? Yep, check. Perfect. Okay. So the purpose of bringing these guys forward is they're all unique in their operations. I'm going to get them to go through and just kind of explain their operations a little bit more intensely, I suppose. I don't know, whatever. You want to give a background. As you can see, I have no paper. We're winging it. We're having a discussion. And the point of this is I want to talk about, what the title of my presentation was, like risk management in a bull market and how that affects you, what you think of, does it make you complacent? Does it, which maybe it does. Talk about price insurance and when you decide to take that tool out and maybe when you decide to leave the tool in the toolbox. And other tools that may be readily available and maybe is a better option. And I'll ask a few questions and I want you guys to get involved. Like, ask these guys hard questions. Make this a little difficult for them. Okay? So anyways, we'll start with Kevin. I said he is the manager of Redcoat. Kevin, just give us a bit of the background. Tell us what's going on in the feedlot right now.
Right now, I would say at the feedlot, we're probably running down on capacity. We've been through a drought. Markets have been good. There's been some profit taking. So people have moved on. The people that was invested in backgrounding have moved their cattle on. I would like to, if you don't mind, you give me a mic. So we're up here about agri stability, price insurance. I'll tell you right up front, agri-stability, you might as well believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy as believe in agri-stability if you're feeding cattle. Excuse me, in 2003, we had cattle that was ready to go. BSE struck. By 2008, we was in a financial crash. There was a $300 a head loss in cattle. We knew by then that agri-stability was not working for the cattle feeders. I asked Lynn if he was there, but I firmly remember the meeting in Winnipeg. It was around that time with the CCA, domestic ag policy, and we said we wanted a policy or a program that was insurable, predictable, and we had control of it, not something you was sending numbers and waiting 3 years to get your revenue back. So I'm a big proponent of price insurance. I'm not a big proponent that our government is not paying a percentage of the fees. We need to be equal with the grain farmers. If there's a political will, it will get done. Right now, there is not the political will.
Oh, boy. I guess I should have answered that differently when you asked. Good job, Kevin. Yeah. Please, Murray.
My name's Murray Linthicum. We ranch down south of Glentworth. We cow-calf operation, yearling operation, got tied in with the feedlot. We always call it the feedlot Redcoat. There was a group of us that hit our head one day and decided we'd collect a little money, and since the feedlots were making all the money, we thought we might as well be part of that. We might as well have a packing plant and lose it all if we decide anything crazy like that again. But anyway, so having said that, I've kind of been involved in a little bit in the feeding side and a little bit in the background or the grass side and as well the cow-calf. So I've tried quite a few experiments with the deal. Dive in feeding, dive in 10% down, dive in small amounts of cash, dive in this, dive in that. And over time, I'd say I've used price insurance, I've used some futures hedging, I've done a little bit of everything. But as time goes on, I would say my opinion on a lot of it is, when I was younger, I had to try everything. And the older people said, get yourself a program and stay with it, which I really didn't know my program. But as time has went on, I really like to have half of my, especially the stuff I'm buying, at least half covered. In other words, half either price insured through the futures, forward contract, some sort of coverage on at least half, because it's very difficult sometimes to lock up profits, but it is nice to be around for the next round, and that's kind of my program right now.
And I'm going to add here, Jamie King with Creekside Ranch out of Central Butte. She might be a familiar face to you because she's our poster child for livestock price insurance. That doesn't mean she has an obligation to say all good things about price insurance, but she is our poster child. You would have seen her running on our ad campaign that we did in the spring. Yeah, so Jamie, take it from there. Talk about your operation, how you've kind of come into that, yeah.
So we're from north of Central Butte. Mostly our land is up by Lake Diefenbaker. We run about 275 cow-calf pairs up there. We're, compared to this group of people, we're not brand new, but really new into it. My in-laws, they got out of the business a little bit on the older end, and so we're coming in. This would be my 5th year of buying insurance with Jody, and the first year we covered all the calves, and then the next year we did just the steers, and I think we did that a couple of years in a row. And this year, just watching where these markets went, I bought on the steers initially because I'd kind of dropped the ball the week before when the tables were real good. So then the following week, I split my two insurances, so I bought on the last half of the calves on the next week. So I kind of felt that that's a good option too, that maybe people don't have to buy all at once. You can kind of piece it out if you're unsure where it's going. So that worked for us this year. And I just feel like, I mean, we haven't had to make a claim since we've been buying, and I think that's a good thing. And just really some peace of mind at night to know that in the fall you've got your floor on the calves. Yeah.
Excellent, thanks, Jamie. And I think the point of the panel was that diversity. We got the feedlot, we got the rancher, we got the grasser, and then we've got, a fairly new producer. They're just successioning through taking over the family ranch. And everybody's level of risk at that time is different. And, Murray talks about doing half, and, because at this time frame, like that's a comfort for him. But maybe in the situation of, say, like King's, it's new for them. They've got maybe more financial risk laying out there that they got to cover up better. So then that goes in well to our next panel member of Bevan, who is with JGL, and this is all he does for a living is monitor commodities, monitoring the markets. Am I hitting this right? Yeah. So actually, okay, so number one, typically because of who you're related to, I most likely wouldn't have brought you up. But you're so much more like your mother, and maybe smarter than your father, that it's all good. So anyways, Bevan, thank you so much. And this is short notice of him showing up, so I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Please just kind of tell us what you're up to these days, what you're seeing, so forth. What you do.
Okay, so I'm Bevan Hudson. I work with JGL Livestock and also JGL Capital. So I do risk management for both companies, do a lot of monitoring of what's going on in the U.S. U.S. is probably my main focus. So mostly the live cattle market and the grains is what I follow the most. I try and do risk management plans for different customers, and like I'm like Murray. Depending on who I'm talking to, generally I will say I recommend a 50% hedge on cattle. Anything more than that, I would probably do some kind of options or price insurance like the WLPIP. Yeah, I'm pretty new. I've been around for 6 or 7 years doing this, so I'm learning stuff every day. But yeah, I'm always open to talk and hear your side, and I can talk about my side.
Okay, well that's awesome. And so this really leads into my next question. So in this environment that we're in right now, Bevan, how are you feeling about things?
Well, it's been a shocker. I don't think anyone thought the market was going to go where it is. I mean, 5 months ago, or even 3 weeks ago, the last couple weeks have been pretty crazy. Usually in the spring, you'll get a pretty good push higher in the grain markets, just because you get the planting pressure and uncertainty of what's going to come out in the new crop. This year, they kind of washed that away. We got no premium pump into the market, so we didn't get the seasonal move lower in the feeder cattle market. And I mean, the U.S. is just they're just starting to run into the retention problem here. And I mean, in the last probably month and a half now is the very first signs of any heifer retention in the U.S. And if the rains keep coming this fall, there's going to be a lot less cattle than what was anticipated. And I mean, that's only going to get worse if we get rains throughout the summer. If we don't, we could see the market come lower, and that's going to be both from the grass guy not being able to hold on to his heifers, and also from the grain prices are going to rise and increasing your cost of gain. So I like to use options right now when I'm talking to guys. They cost a little bit of money, but I mean it's an insurance, but you're not taking away all your risks like you are at the WLPIP. So that's just got to be something that you got to decide if you're okay with or what you think the risk is there. You got your basis risk, and that's the main thing. I mean, something can happen in the U.S. that doesn't happen in Canada, and it's going to change the market quite dramatically. It could be for your benefit or otherwise. But yeah, it's different for everybody, but it's all about what your risk appetite is. And
Okay, are you a bull or are you a bear? Right now.
I'm a bull, but I mean it's very priced in. So I mean I don't know where the top is. I thought the top was when the market was at 220. I thought that was the top, and I think everyone else did as well.
Thank you so much, Bevan. Excellent. Okay, we'll go back down to Kevin. What do you think? This bullish market, like how does this make you feel? Does this make you comfortable and you're able to sleep in it? You're able to sleep in, take some holidays, shoot those more gophers down in that area, take a month off to do a gopher kill?
Okay, put it very simply. I remember BSE. I remember the financial crash. I remember the pink slime made up by the government. I remember COVID. I remember the drought. And we're looking at another high. I don't know what's going to hit us, but it's going to hit us. I'm scared. And I just manage it for the company, but you'd think I own it, but I don't. But I'm scared to death, especially buying these high-priced calves. I'll tell you right now, we don't have anything as a company that's on feed that isn't protected. And we do it by different ways because my risk level is not as high as somebody who owns it. So, and Murray sits on the board, he'll attest to this, but yeah, and I am very nervous about this fall. I think we already brought it up at our last board meeting.
So you're the bear-ish. You're the bear-ish, we'd say, right? Okay, Murray?
I would say I'm on the bull side. just watching markets and kind of watching things for however many years now, I feel like the grain is heading down a little. I was talking with Todd back there, just my own gut feeling. As high as these yearlings are right now, and if the grain goes to where the futures are headed, it actually looks to me like there's actually a chance to make some money on them. Where we always thought when cattle were lower, yeah, it should work. It should work. But right now, it actually looks like it could work.
Notice how you said, just as hold on. Did you hear that? It should work, it should work,
And it
it
could work.
could. But
I mean,
he'll
if you're-
never say it'll work.
They said the cattle feeders said that they thought the Titanic was even coming up yet. So I'm sure it's on its way. But I mean, if you run as crazy as it is, and I sell yearlings, I have finished a few cattle. I'm not saying it's for smarter people than me, but the numbers actually look like here's what it is. Ta-da. It's, you know, and also was what Bevan talked about, the moisture. Guys aren't crazy about expanding the herd yet, but if this rain thing kicks around and these cattle get high, nobody wants to sell heifers when they're high because they're going higher. People are going to start keeping these heifers, I think, and I think things will tighten up, like the numbers, and that's just my feeling on it right now.
Excellent, thanks, Mary. Pass that over to Jay, yeah. So I don't know, what would we say? Is he a bull or a bear?
I'm bullish.
Bullish, yep, he's bullish. Okay. Actually, you probably said that at the beginning. Go ahead.
I think I'd like to side with Murray and be on the bull side too. I don't have as much experience as all of you in the markets and trying to follow all that. I find it a little bit overwhelming at times, but I'd just like to be optimistic and try and see good things.
But still do some protection.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Still
allows you
glad
to do
I
that.
have them protected up there.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to kind of go around, so majority of our audience is the cow-calf sector. So, Bevan, opportunities for risk management is different for them than maybe a lot of the customers that you deal with. Feeding cattle, finishing cattle, grassing cattle, that's a different dynamic. If you had a piece of advice for the cow-calf guy, doesn't have enough that makes worth doing options, doesn't want that risk, doesn't want to pay that dollar, or what would you say to him? Come and see me?
Well, if you're not willing to spend any money on it, you're kind of screwed, I think, because if you have calf, if that's your main thing is cow-calf, you're really pretty much limited to what you guys offer, right? I mean,
And can I just interject there, because you're making a very good point already. Anything that you do in the form of risk management has a cost associated to it. Is there any risk management tool that doesn't have a cost to it, outside of contracting, I suppose?
yeah, contracting is the only thing essentially that doesn't have a cost to it.
And
Outright,
would you recommend that in this environment? Okay, that might
if you can get someone to take the other side of your contract, I mean, lots of guys don't want to do it because they all have their own different opinions of what's going to happen. I mean, you got to find the right guy, or girl for that matter. With the futures, they're standardized, and there's so many people out there that you're going to find it. It's not like there's always liquidity there. But futures, they don't have any value when you buy them or sell them at the time that you do so. So there's no cost there except for your initial margin, which is, it's basically just it's a placeholder. I mean, that's still your money. Options are like an insurance, so you pay an upfront premium there. The thing with the futures options is they're fungible. You can trade out of them at any point in time and recover that premium or a portion of that premium that you've paid for. So that's one benefit, but I mean, there you still have to be okay with taking on the additional basis risk or cross-border risk that you don't have to take on with the
Yeah,
WL
excellent. Yeah, thanks, Bevan. Excellent. At the end of the day, no matter what we're talking about, no matter what the tool is, It requires discipline, attention. You know, you got to be dedicated to what it is, especially in these tools that we're talking about. You have to be dedicated to them, and there's some form of cost associated to it. Yeah. Kevin, do you have anything like if you were to say to our cow-calf sector specifically, pieces of advice, and you
Put price insurance on. I mean,
well, no, yeah.
you said I was bearish, but all I'm worried about is high price, high inputs if something goes wrong.
That's right.
So a call, or whatever your language is, for me, it would be price insurance. I'm not saying we're not headed for a bull, but we've got so much stuff that can affect us, that can put us in the negative so fast. I use one bomb in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And we've been through all this before. So, yeah, I think the market is great, but for that kind of coverage, even if you took the bottom coverage, it's more money than you got last year.
By far.
Yeah, so why not put something?
Yeah, thank you. That's right. That's right. I mean, when we talk about in the worlds of the market, and I think all you guys would agree, you know, we have a deadline of calf insurance this week. You know, when you look at from the market perspective, it is a long time to the end of October, middle of October, or November, December, right? In the market world, it's a very long time. So, yeah, thanks for that. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to that too, Murray?
I believe in the price insurance, especially like you don't know the basis, you don't know the border issues, and on the premiums nowadays for going out there. Like I don't generally sell my calves, but I'd already be looking out into February on the feeder side, because premium off for the feeder, you're still looking at $2,500, $2,450 to $2,500 for your 850 weight calf. If our program is, we calve late, we wean early, we try to get the health out of them calves so that we low stress wean them, and from the calves I buy and our health is, well, we're under average for health. So that's our program. We get our cows back in shape, saving on the winter feed, and then we start looking into the winter, spring, and on the grass for marketing. But I'm gonna very seriously look out to February because our even calving later, our calves will be in that 850 mark. Well, 2,500, grain drops a little. It is on the board. You're looking to get back that 1,800 to $2,000 for your calf and continue with the program that got you to where you were. So I'm a believer in that. I'm not a believer in laying her all out there. I want some risk, but I believe in the
Protection.
program.
Yep, thank you, thank you. You know, Jamie, you said something really really good to me earlier when you were talking about, you know, insurance and how you kind of look at it. Do you want to just reiterate to them what we had talked about? And you really talk about the truck. That is so true. Keep that as another story too. Go ahead.
I just wanted to start out with following these two that, for the amount of work that we do in a day, we work too hard to not get paid for that in the fall. And I just feel like with the price insurance, it's kind of like your employment insurance that your regular day job would take off anyways. And if you add that up over the year, they take a fair enough amount of that if you're going to look at it in the percentage-wise, like what Jody showed on the slide. So to insure these calves, even at the bottom, it was 002 or whatever it was so minimal. And when LPI had contacted me to do the poster, that was my first thought. I just thought, we go to work and you work for 2 weeks and you get a check right away. You got paid for your work. And here we sit doing this work all year long, hoping for our one-day sale that we get paid for it properly, right? That's tough. I just find. And the tables, I think, like Jody said too, be diligent in watching those. Because you can kind of follow that along, and yeah, they're going to go way up and they're going to go way down, but you know yourself, for these guys that have ranched years and years and years, his risk level is probably a lot less than mine, so where his floor is different than mine, what you're willing to spend, and those change so much, and you can find where you want to be. And my little joke to her about the truck earlier was you finally you watch and you print the tables off and they're on your desk and you buy your policy and then you look at it next week and you're like, oh, there's a better deal this week. So if you get it bought and all your calves are covered, don't look no more.
Yeah. And she referenced to that to buying a truck. You shop and shop and shop for the best deal on the truck. You get your truck bought, you're all done. You're still looking to see what that price of those trucks are, right? Okay, I'm going to move out to the crowd. Does anybody want to come up and ask a question? Like, don't be kind to these guys. You know, you've got quite a bit of area of expertise here. So if you've got any questions about the markets or anything that you would like, come on up and ask a question.
Yeah, my name is Glenn Snyder. This is to JGL. I could be directing this to Tim Adams, one of my old cohorts that I used to work with. But in any case, managed funds, live cattle US, where are they sitting right now? Are they long or short?
Money is very long.
And what about the speculator side?
I don't know what the specs are right now, honestly. I didn't look at the COT data from last week. The producers are short, and the managed money's long.
Okay, and the when you say long on managed money, is that for all the contract months pretty much out?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So that pretty much tells us where they're thinking with, you know, what direction prices are going to go then, for sure, yeah. Or not for sure, nothing's for sure, but it's an indicator.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the guys doing the market research who aren't hedging their own cattle, but they're supporting the hedgers, and they're gonna hopefully get paid off for that. Is what their mindset is there.
Anybody else with a question? No? Oh, geez, he just gets up and walks out. He what? Oh, he needs a drink of water. Okay. I thought, oh, he's just doing that, like, mic drop, walking off. Okay, well, and so the last round, I'll just kind of give you, like, just give me your final thoughts, you know, just whatever, whatever. It could be even a joke if you wanted to make it a joke. I don't care. Just final thoughts. Oh, back to you.
My overall thought would be the market is going to be higher this fall and higher into the new year. That's talking outside of any black swan events that might happen. I believe in locking in a profit when you have it. This year it's a special one. I mean, there's people out there who could probably lock in the biggest profit they've had ever in their operations, so I think that's pretty important. You know, maybe 60% is a level for somebody. As far as the price insurance, it's probably worth getting something there for the other portion that maybe you haven't locked in a price for. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think fundamentally in the cattle market, outside of any other macro events that could happen, there's nothing pointing lower. Placements have been lower in the U.S. for 8 months in a row now, and that had nothing to do with heifer retention. That was just the supply of cattle because of the call on the cows for the last couple of years. So this fall, you're going to still have lower placements, plus you're going to run into the issue of retention, which is going to make that number even more dramatic. So I think this cycle that we're in is going to be long-lived. A heifer that's held on to this fall isn't going to produce a calf that's going to hit the market till nearly 2025. So we pulled the supply out now, and it's gone for 2 years.
Thank you very much, Bevan, and thank you for joining us. Jamie, we'll go the reverse here.
I think for people like on the beginning end of ranching too, like probably a lot of us, we get into it because we were raised there. So we tend to be good at fencing, good at calving cows, good at haying, all the work stuff. And I think we probably gravitate to work in the business rather than on the business. And so I've really learned a lot in the last 5 years, and a lot in the last year actually, to do better at working on the business. Jody's a great resource, learned a lot through her, and I think the LPI has made me be able to sleep at night because it's heavy at days, you know. So, and these groups too. I started working with Erica Stewart with Verified Beef, and just getting out into these circles and networking and being nervous up here talking to you guys. I don't love, but it's been just really great to be able to get a perspective of everybody else.
Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Yeah, I would say almost with what I started with, I've taught, you spend a lifetime getting a program, excuse me, and then things get good, and now you're scared because they're good. So I would say if you've kind of got a program figured out, stick with it. As a cow-calf producer, basically, all you can really do anyway is try to keep as much control on your cost anyway. So, and now it's time maybe to get paid for it, and, you know, it just, and as a guy feeding or backgrounding or running these yearlings, I have to look back to see where I was 20 years ago and see where I am now. And it's, I jumped around a little bit, but I've kind of got my program to where I'm raising them, buying some to feed, selling the heavy end, taking some lighter ones to grass, repeat.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know what the market's going to be, but I've learned enough over time now to know that if you're in it, you got to be in it. And so the more you're in it, the better your chance of not having hopefully that one good day.
Yeah.
And the price insurance helps protect that. So, and another point that's got nothing to do with what we think the market's coming up. People are anxious to dive into the price insurance because it's so good right now. Okay, calves are going to be 1,800, 2,000, yearlings are this, or that, whatever. In my experience, what was a tougher thing to do and that I didn't do, veered from my program. Back here not many years ago, price insurance told you the best you could do is maybe lock up a $100 loss. Well, who in their right mind would do that? The people that stuck to their program would have taken that $100 loss, but instead we lost $300.
Absolutely.
So there is
Absolutely.
something to be said for getting yourself a program, whatever that might be. I've got a neighbor that I can guarantee you he's going to turn out on 1st July every year. He is going to sell at the first sale in Mancota in November. He's going to put up feed for his cows, and he's going to repeat. And he has a pretty good life, too.
Yeah.
He doesn't even listen to talk radio. He
What?
listens to CHAB. Like, who would
Are
think?
you serious?
Unreal.
Holy. I got to get me some of that. Oh, okay. Bevan's going to get the COT data for you. Okay, Kevin, last words. Everybody wants to get to the bar.
So on the feedlot side, I'll talk strictly from the feedlot side. I pretty well know who our customers are going to be from year to year, and we will vary some. But if a customer calls me, there's two things I want to know. I want to know, where's your cattle coming from? Who's purchasing them? And what is your plan? Because, and this year will be a year where you'll see people that will want to feed cattle because there might have been a profit in them last year, and they don't have an end plan. So that's one thing. On the cattle that the company owns, what I am very, very worried about is there's nothing any worse than a feedlot manager wants to see than empty space. And I'm very worried that we're all going to go out and blow our brains out, and we're going to overpay because there's not going to be enough calves to fill all these bunks. And we, as a feedlot, are going to put ourselves in a high-risk situation. Therefore, that's why I say, whatever we buy for cattle for the company, we have to have some protection. We cannot sit there and be open. And if the market's going to be in a bull run, then we need to use price insurance.
Yeah, fair. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Excellent conversation. I appreciate you taking your time out of the busy schedule. Give them a hand.
And Jody, thank you very much for doing this panel discussion. Very, very good. Thank you so very much. And our panelists, we do have some parting gifts here for you as well. Just hang on one sec. We got some parting gifts coming your way on behalf of the Saskatchewan Stock Growers Association. Well, that's going to wrap up really the conference and the speeches for today anyway. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we've got drinks happening, and then there is going to be some entertainment, live and silent auction, and of course the banquet starting up at 7 o'clock here tonight. So thank you for everybody for coming out here. Just want to make mention of a couple of sponsors here before I let you go. We've got for the trade show sponsors, SodCap, Stock Boss Energy Free Livestock Waterer, Sweet Pro Canada, Union Forage, Water Security Agency, and Young's Equipment. And a shout out to our gold sponsors, Golden West Radio, Allflex, Grain Millers Canada, Saskatchewan Livestock Finance Cooperative, Saskatchewan Stock Growers Foundation, Sweet Pro Canada, Titan Livestock, Vitaquinol Canada, Young's Equipment, and Zoetis. I'm Cody Clyden. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.
Test. Just a couple of other things here before we close. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody for your participation, some great questions, excellent presentations, and thanks so much for doing that. There are a couple of field days that I just wanted to draw your attention to coming up here in June. June the 12th, a Monday starting at 12 o'clock. The Stock Growers is hosting a field day at D&N Ranch at Peebles, and it has to do with the Sense Hub Cow-Calf partnership with Merck Animal Health and WestGen. So I think you'll find that interesting, and if you could come out, that would be much appreciated. The other field day that's coming up is the Livestock and Forage Center of Excellence Field Day, June 20th, up at the Research Center, starting at 9:30 registrations. And so you're all invited to come out for that as well. So again, thank you very much for that, and enjoy your evening.